Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you've just joined us. My name's Suzanne and I garden and grow cut flowers in Devon in the UK, and I grow my cut flowers predominantly for sale as retail bouquets. And in this week's video I thought we'd touch a little bit on, I couldn't really do the day in the life of a flower farmer or a sort of video like that because like a lot of people, I have a job and grow the cut flowers as a side hustle in my spare time. So if I try to do a day in the life, you don't want to come to work with me for my day job. You don't want to hang my washing on the line or feed my animals or all those such things. So I've sort of done a lot of filming over the week this week to show you how basically I step in and out of growing cut flowers, while the bits I haven't filmed are all the other little bits that we all do in life in between, and also going to work. It's very easy to get completely overwhelmed by the sheer number of jobs that you have to do. So I always find something that's quite helpful is just to go and tackle a load of really quick 10-minute jobs, and it just reduces your list and makes you feel a whole lot better and more accomplished. Another really quick job that needs doing is I need to deadhead the roses, and there are a few annoying sting nettles in with my raspberry foliage that I just want to pull out. I'm not going to be able to see the roots now. I'll just pull them just so that they're not going to be stinging me when I'm harvesting. Another quick job is, I don't know if you remember, I had a bit of rootstock growing in my roses and I stupidly let it grow because I wanted to see what it looked like. But now it's taking over, so I need to cut it out. And another job that needs ticking off the list is just cutting some of my lavender ready for drying, just before it goes all brown and goes too far over. I don't know if I've spoken very much about this, but this is another important thing on a side hustle. So I think point one is that you have to get up early if you've got to go to work and get things done. So I really need to go and cut those buckets of flowers, or bucket of flowers, imminently. And point two is a harder one, and it's one of the most important things for you to consider if you're thinking about growing cut flowers as a side hustle. And it wasn't something that I really considered, but as it happens, it naturally worked out for me because I was lucky about where I lived. And I notice how valuable this is and how important it is over the winter, because over the winter I have to process and make all of my dried flower products in my house, because I cannot use my studio space because of the condensation. So the roof doesn't leak in here, but it's extremely damp. That is something that definitely needs to be rectified, because having your house become a workspace when you've got family there and, I don't know, dogs, and you've got, I mean, boxes of stuff. I mean, just my kit, you know, that's this tray. And then I can't store half my stuff out here over the winter, all my tissue paper, my living vases, everything like that all has to go into my house. It all has to go into my house. So if you're thinking of growing cut flowers as a side hustle, do you have a space available to you for conditioning your flowers and for bunching your flowers up? I mean, to be honest, even if you had just a slightly undercover area, it doesn't need to be completely indoors, but do you have that space available to you? Because I think it's only sustainable to do cut flowers in your house unless you're very tolerant for a short period of time, but then at some point you are going to need somewhere to store everything and to work. I mean, this shed is full to bursting, and I've also got the other adjoining shed there which is also full to bursting, because you've not only, you know, I've got my sprayer here, I've got more buckets, I've got a bucket of compost, I've got my heated propagators. I try and keep this table clear for wrapping, but anyway, I won't go on about it. But if you're thinking of growing cut flowers for a side hustle, do you have a space available to you, or will you be able to make one available to you? Because it's okay for a period of time to work in an area used for something else, but eventually you're going to need that space to be able to work, especially if you're going to start doing event work or anything like that. I mean, even potentially, you know, you might be able to borrow a space, which could work for you. Anyway, let's go and cut these flowers before I am late. I'm hoping I'll find my other snips along the way. Okay, found these in the greenhouse. Now, when to cut your flowers often comes up, and you can cut them in the morning or you can cut them in the evening. I tend to choose the morning because that is when they have the most moisture in the stems. However, if I'm cutting something to dry, then the evening. I have been known to cut in the evening. If I had been really late this morning, then I'd have to do that. But I've got just enough time just to cut one bucket. Now, the feverfew has to be open. It's not so good when it's still got closed bits on it. So I'm just looking for the most open bit I can find. We'll take off all these lower ones anyway. You know, if I was doing a wedding or something, I would keep those for bud vase arrangements, but I'm not, so I don't have time for that. You have to learn to be quite I don't know, you just gotta get on with it and not fuss about it. Everything's very fillery at the moment. You know, loads of fillers, but not a lot of focal. But it still looks, you know, it still can give a good look. I think 2 will be enough. I'll come out and cut myself some sweet peas later until I've, you know, got them on the website. I'm starting to get a bit spoilt for choice, so I've gone a bit crazy there because I forgot about my Ami, and then I got some dianthus and I got some raspberry, and I can see lots of other things budding up, so I'm getting a bit like a kid in a sweet shop. There's loads of poppy seed heads as well, but you know, I mean, a bit like the pink pocostatus and the astrantia, I could cut those now and I could put them in this bouquet, but they'll dry, so let's put the fresh things in that don't dry so well. Right, let's get this conditioning in the shed, and then I need to go and get all my animals fed before I head out. Hey, it's Saturday morning, so I feel perky because we will have a weekend. It's about 6 a.m. Solstice was yesterday, so I should have been out earlier really. But I've just made my coffee. And at this time yesterday morning, so yesterday was Friday, it was a work day, I came out to the cut flower patch to go on slug patrol. That's why I'm out here now. Especially it rained last night, so I'm expecting there to be quite a few slugs. But I came out yesterday morning and all of a sudden I heard thump, 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 thump. And right before my very eyes was Peter Rabbit. And I very quickly took on the character role of Mr. McGregor and ran round chasing him with my broom. Now don't worry anybody, I wasn't planning to whack him with the broom or anything, but what I really needed to do was see where he'd come in, he or she, I don't really know, it was Peter. So I spent 5 minutes chasing this rabbit round my cut flower patch, and it kept going in the raspberries. And, you know, I can't see anything in there, so that's hence the broom. So I was poking the broom in and out through the raspberries, but it kept running out of the raspberries and hip hopping, I don't know, hoppertying everywhere. And eventually I saw him shoot out. I'll show you where. So I was over here. So imagine me, if you will, with my broom, poking it in the raspberries here. And eventually it caught my eye and I saw him in the field. So I went round to investigate if I could find a hole. Oh, it's really quite annoying because I have dug the fence in from this post all the way down to this post, all the way over to that post, and all the way up to halfway on this post. Now, I could not dig in on a couple of areas because the garden was already a bit too established. So I haven't here. So all the way along here is not, but it's this galvanise is fairly low down, and that goes all the way along here. And I have not dug in all the way along here, and that's largely because there's, oh, you can't even see it, but this is a raised bed. This is quite difficult because the timber's there. So oh look, all this is going to have to be cut down now because the rain has flattened it all. It doesn't look like much of a meadow now. I might even just let the horses, if the horses wouldn't eat the trees, I could probably bring them out here. Actually, the horses probably eat the raspberries as well. Anyway, back on with what I'm supposed to be talking about. So here you can see my makeshift hole cover up. But basically, you can see that all the netting has been chewed. I mean, this isn't the protective netting. I've got actual proper wire. But he chewed a hole in here and then gained access in under here. But now he knows the weakness. I think I'm going to have to, yeah, you know what I'm thinking. At some point when this meadow has been chopped down, I'm going to have to dig a trench all the way along here and dig it in as well. I thought I'd done enough, but hey ho, we'll see. So basically I don't want to cut this down until all of the yellow rattle has had a chance to go to seed. But what I might do is where some of it's going brown, I might actually collect some of those seeds now so that when the grass is cut, I can just shake it around and then it's got more of a chance. But actually it's wet this morning, so I won't cut any of the yellow rattle down right now. But that is a little job that I'll try and get done over the weekend at some point. So anyway, that was my little Friday morning adventure. But at least I did manage to see where he went out, because I thought, gosh, if I don't see where you go out, think of the damage you could do in a day. And the funny thing was, on Thursday night, I was looking at some of my plants. Which ones were they? They were over here. I was looking at some of my plants and I was like, well, if I didn't know better, I'd see a rabbit had eaten that. But I thought we were rabbit proof, so I didn't think. But I was like, here we are.
there was just this stalk, and all the leaves were all nibbled off the stalk, and I thought, well, that's not a slug. Yeah, and sure enough, it was a bunny. But oh, this is my third crop of Phacelia. That's coming on nicely. Anyway, what we need to do this morning after I've done slug patrol, don't worry, I won't squish any slugs on camera. We're actually looking pretty good for slugs. My blackbird friend's been doing a good job. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, when I've done slug patrol, I'm going to feed everything. I want to spray this other row of dahlias and a few other smaller things. And it's clear to me that my bells of Ireland are not very happy in the tunnel, so I'm actually even thinking about taking them out. Oh, there's a slug. Right, I'll switch you off so that I can deal with him. So last night when I got home from work, you could just feel it was about to rain. So I quickly grabbed some alchemilla mollis to dry. So I need to do that this morning. There's still loads that it started raining when I was doing it. So that's why I left it in the polytunnel last night actually. So what I did is I laid it out on my plant support netting so that now I'm taking it into the studio, it has managed to dry out. So I got a good wad of Greek cress as well. Both of these are just so fantastic. You know, I've definitely got enough alchemilla mollis, but I never seem to have enough Greek cress. But I think I've got some old, because I ran out of the seed I bought, but I think I've got some that I dried last year, which I should be able to harvest some seed from. So I might do that later today as well. Lots to do today, so we better get on. I think I'm going to start by feeding my poor zinnias. The slugs really have, well, I wonder how many I've lost. I planted an awful lot of zinnias and now I've got not much of a crop at all really. My sprayer is broken, so I'm going to pour it into the watering can and order a new sprayer. Oh, how annoying is this? I think I've only used this sprayer about 4 times. Oh look, the little baby salvia verde. Oh, I do love it when you get stuff that's self-seeded, because I've only actually got one of those this year, so now I've got 2. I really need to do some weeding today. You need to get them while they're baby weeds. You don't want them to become big things. Right, how heavy is this? So this isn't me watering, this is foliar feeding. So I'm only going to, basically I just want to cover the leaves in this feed. But, well, in some cases it's what's left of the leaves because the slugs have caused such damage. But this isn't so efficient doing it like this because you waste a lot more. If you can use the sprayer, the 10 litres will do, you know, a lot more crop. But I just really want these poor zinnias because otherwise I'm not going to have any zinnias. And the ones that are all shriveled and brown, when you look at them closely, what the slugs have done is they've actually nibbled the stems right down at the bottom. and that's why they've died. I'll try and show you. So this zinnia that looks really dead, when you look down the stem here, so you can see this is the OK stem, which is that red colour. And then you can just see what the slugs have done here, where it goes white. So what they do is they strip the outside of the stem, much like when deer strip the outside bark of trees. And then, of course, that means that the plant dies. So, I mean, how many have I lost through slugs in here? I mean, some of them, I'm not going to class him as lost yet. You know, he's still got some leaves. But, you know, when you get to like this one and this one, I mean, this one, you know, they're just never going to recover fully. It does seem to be a lot over the back. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I probably definitely lost about 16, and there are probably another 10 that look a bit worse for wear. So I'm probably not going to do any more feeding now until I get a new sprayer. So I think we'll do some weeding after breakfast, but I've got the oven on, warming up, ready for some pain au chocolat. So I'm going to go and do that first. It's raining now, so I'm leaving the weeding for a little while. But my hydropropagator is embarrassingly dirty. So I need to take out any plants that are rooted in there and chuck away any that haven't. And then I really need to clean it. And then later, I think I'll go ahead and take some cuttings. Oh my God, I've just noticed something awful out of the window. Oh no, come with me. Oh no, I think I'm gonna have to chop it down. It wasn't that windy last night. It must have just been the sheer weight of rain. I'll spin you around. Oh dear, what have I just broken? Okay, so this fuchsia has completely blown over. I mean, we'll get in. This is not. So it was upright. I'm just going to have to chop it all down because it's just. Hang on, let me set you back so you can see what I mean. Oh, I can't get up the flower bed now. I mean, because now it's just squishing all my plants. So it should be, I'm guessing it's just weight. That's where it was. Maybe I could stake it. That's another project for today. And now I'm here, I can see bindweed as well. Bindweed, bindweed. Really, I'm going to have a very busy weekend. No change there. Right, let's see what I knocked over on my way out of the shed. I can't believe that fuchsia's done that. I don't know if I should just chop it off rather than try and stake it. Oh, we'll see. Anyway, back to tidying the hydropropagator. So I've got, I haven't got any compost. Oh, it's supposed to arrive tomorrow now. So I've got this old bit of soil, I don't even know where I got it from, with a bit of manure mixed in. And I just need to take these cuttings out of the hydropropagator, so I'll just go and grab them. I didn't label any of these cuttings. Some of them are flowered, so I know what they are. So I know that that is a phlox, and I'm guessing it's tapestry. So what I'll do is obviously I'll cut the top off. I've got some snips in my pocket, and we know who that is. But then I've got, who's this? I don't know what that is. Anyone know what that is? This is probably another, these are probably more phlox, so I'll just chop the tops off. And is this a snapdragon? I think that might be a snapdragon, so it's got some good roots. I would say that was a Gadisha, but it really needs chopping off. Don't want it that tall. These are more phlox. More phlox. Is that another snapdragon? That's only got a tiny root on that snapdragon. That's another Gadisha. Another phlox. But then I've got another one of these. I don't know what this is. I'll put them in the same pot. I've got two of them. Anyway, they've got really good roots on them. But I don't know what it is. Okay, I'll go ahead and pot those up. I think I'm going to go out into the cut flower patch in a minute as well. And there were some molehills, so I think I might go and get some more soil from the molehills. Right, so yeah, so this is a Gadisha, so ooh. I'm putting the cuttings in the corner of the pots. So I'm going to put a few Gadisha in here. That's another one I'd say. I'm just going to snip the top off and hopefully it will branch out. Oh. I should have probably got the soil wet before I started because I can't make holes. And then we'll do these weird things. I don't know what they are. I just go around snipping stuff and sticking it in there. So yeah, it could be anything. It could be from the cottage garden. It could be from the cut flower patch. Whatever they are the best cutting. So I wish I knew what it was because look at that. Well, good. Really don't know what they are. Okay. I don't know how I've ended up with a child's. He's probably got mine. As long as he hasn't got the hori knife, we're fine. Right, this one's only got a really tiny root, so we definitely want to take some more leaves off that one. But it really just needs, you know, if you're going to be using a hydropropagator, you do need to keep it clean and bacteria free, just like you do with your flower buckets. So it's long overdue for a clean stay. And because it's raining, that's a good rainy day job because I'll take that into my utility room and give that a clean. Right. I wonder if I could do some zinnias because of all the zinnias I've lost. I wonder if I clean the hydropropagator and then go and pinch some of the zinnias out that look not too bad, and then I could have replacements for the ones the slugs ate. That's a thought, isn't it? Right. Oh, wow. Look at that for roots. But seriously, you need to get rid of a lot of that. That is amazing. But it should have come out of the propagator long before it got like that. Right, I need to find them a home and water them. Okay, hydropropagator is all cleaned, but I reached this time at the weekend, so it's 10 to 8 now, and that's my time up for a little while. So I will come back and we'll do some cuttings later, but now I have to go and be mum for a few hours. So that's hence getting up early enough just to get a few jobs done. So I'll see you in a few hours. I cut quite a lot of the fuchsia out just to reduce the weight, and then we've just tied it into the wall. So another job I can tick off of my to-do list. Just had some aphids on them. It gets it every year, but it still seems to be okay in the winter when I come to cut it. Well, not in the winter, when I come to cut it for drying. So I'm going to take some cuttings anyway. I think I've got all the... I don't want to put aphids into my hydropropagator. I think I've got them all. Every time my phone rings on a Saturday morning, I always put on my best poshest voice and make sure that I answer the phone as a florist shop. And it's a good job I do, because nearly every Saturday morning someone puts in a last minute order. And I started to get a bit wise to this, and I've started cutting flowers on a Friday even if I haven't got an order. And it's a good job I did, because someone's just ordered some flowers to be delivered locally for a golden wedding anniversary. So I'm going to go and see what I've cut. Some of it's here, and just see if I can have enough for a sort of golden wedding anniversary. Because I know I cut some roses. Oh yeah, I probably have got enough roses. But I've got another bucket in the other shed, and I've got to work out a receptacle, because I think I used my last vase that fits in these the other day. So I really need to order some more of these, because I've only got 2 left, and I need to source some more vases. Never-ending list of things to do. Okay, I've been through the buckets of flowers that I had, and I've choreographed my posy. So this will be it. I don't know if you can quite see that. So these are the flowers I've got to work with. I made one of these posies last week, so I probably won't film the whole process. One thing I know is, when I wanted to do this, I read lots of books and watched lots of videos, and the advice generally always is to grow more of fewer varieties. And I've never heeded to that, even though the general consensus is that that's easier, which it would make sense to do as easier. And I think for my classic bunch retail bouquets, that makes sense. But I'm glad I grow a little, like I grow a little bit of Serenity. I had 3 plants of honeywort this year. I've got 1 salvia verde. I don't use those things loads. I wouldn't need loads of them to put in a retail bouquet. But when I want to make something special, like this bouquet for a golden wedding anniversary, it's nice to have the... So I've gone for tones of purple here, so the honeywort was perfect. I only grow a little bit of toad flax, and then I've got that with my lilac larkspur and the lilac gilia here, and of course the lilac of the Phacelia, and then my absolutely favourite wildflower, self-heal. Self-heal, it is a medicinal, and people used to grow it for medical purposes. So a couple of those, and then that's putting the lilac, and even as far as the centre of the nigella. Can you see there's lilac on the centre of the nigella here as well? And then I've gone for the oh, hang on, I nearly forgot my sweet pea. And then I've also got the lilac colours of my sweet peas as well. And then I've gone ahead and coupled that with the exact opposite. I mean, this is very, very trendy, this peachy colour. And then I've got some cream roses. And then these compassion roses start very pink in the middle, but they will eventually fade to that peachier tone. So I'm going to go ahead and make my gift bouquet with this. Oh, foliage wise, we've got raspberry, alchemilla mollis, there's some Greek cress. Where is the Greek cress? Hiding. There's some Greek cress in there. And then I've also gone for a bit of ammi and a bit of feverfew. Oh, and not forgetting my dianthus. So that's a lovely little mix, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and make, hopefully, a beautiful posy.
Look at the state of me. My day didn't exactly go to plan today. My quick flower delivery turned out to be a bit of a, what's the word? Anyway, it wasn't quite as straightforward as it should have been. I went the way that I would go to that place, and I thought it was a bit strange that the road the other way seemed extremely busy and it's quite a quiet area. And then of course I came across the police slow sign, so turned around, had to basically come back past my house to go a different way, which again is all single track roads, and it just took me a lot longer to deliver the flowers. So then by the time I got back, had my lunch, and then my family messaged to say my sister was visiting my mum and dad, so then we all, went to be social with the family, and then, sort of walk the dogs. I've done a little bit of weeding in the cottage garden this afternoon, and I've started filling the hydro propagator again, but tomorrow is another day, Sunday is another day, and we've got lots to do in the morning, so I'll see you then. Okay, so cuttings in the hydro propagator at the moment. These are a house plant. I can't remember the name. I have found it and popped it into a video before. It's got quite a purpley leaf. Oh gosh, I don't know what that is. Veronica, I think, who knows. This I can never pronounce, so I'll pop the name on the screen. I know the variety is Cowes Castle. These are the top zinnias, so this is a bit of an experiment. And then this is a salvia which I don't have. I'm always looking in other people's gardens and asking for cuttings, so I thought this would be nice for the cottage garden. And then I've still got space for something else, so that's something for me to have a little think about. I was a bit later in the cut flower patch this morning because Sunday morning is always the morning I go out for a ride on my pony. Oh dear, Peter's been in there again, and it's amazing what one rabbit can do, isn't it? Imagine having a whole group of them. I don't know what a group of rabbits is called. So Peter has eaten my second succession of dill, and he's eaten it right to the ground, so I'll put something else in there now. Trying to think what I've got to plant out. Maybe even, I think I've got a few perennials, pop them in there. And there's grass everywhere. This rabbit, this is just grass. He's gone in there and eaten my grasses. I mean, come on. At least go in there and eat something with a bit more variety. So I really need to try and stop him getting in. Certainly doing my cardiovascular this morning, but on a really good note, very positive. My compost should be arriving imminently. So I finished digging my trench, finally. I'm not thrilled about the wire I found in the shed, but it's all I've got. And quite honestly, I just don't think I can afford to go and buy any more rolls of wire. So I think I'm going to double it up.
In a previous life, my training was in animal husbandry, and then I went on to have a career as an animal husbandry manager in tourism. So I know a fair bit about keeping rabbits in enclosures. And if I use that knowledge for keeping them out, then I know full well that the wire I've got is not really a great grade and they're quite likely to chew through it, which is why I'm going to go for the doubling it up. I'll be annoyed with myself if it doesn't work, because I know the wire I used last time was much better. But you know, I used all of that up, and I've got a feeling that might be where I stopped, and why I stopped and didn't dig the front in is that I had sort of run out of wire, and I thought it would be okay. And you know, it was okay for 12 months. Rabbits didn't get in there last year, but I say rabbits, it is only one. It's Peter, we call him. I'm hoping my grasses will recover, but the dill, oh, that's really annoying, because it looked dreadful when I planted it, and it just really perked up. And obviously it perked up, it looked tasty.
So my compost has arrived, and I just need to sieve it now because I'm going to be using it for seed sowing. So I sieve it so that I've only got the finer fibres and particles for me to sow my seeds from, and all of the larger, bulkier bits of like wood that hasn't composted down properly, I use as a mulch then. And I've actually just noticed that one of my planters has really sunk, so I think I'm going to add it on top of there as a layer of mulch.
Do you ever get the feeling you're being watched? He's watching me do the compost sieving. He's finding it very entertaining. I'm in the cut flower patch. It's a little bit later in the morning that I'd like. It's about 8:30. I like to get in here much earlier, but things haven't exactly gone to plan this morning, but you don't need to hear about that. But I'm here because I wanted to talk a little bit about the sunflowers that I'm growing this year. I've always had grown sunflowers until last year. Last year was the first year where I just did without them. And the reason I went without them was because I've always struggled to put them into my retail work, because they're always very flat, so they won't sit nicely in a bouquet. And then I heard about this variety called Orange Up. So that's the variety I'm trialling this year, and it's great. It's doing what it said it would do. So the flowers are completely upward facing. So it's a winner. The only disadvantage to this is the packets of seed I bought. There were only 25 seeds in the packet, so it gets quite expensive then. So I might have to find a different supplier. But anyway, I've got an order to make up, so I thought I'd cut some of my Orange Up sunflowers. The only disadvantage I can see is they definitely look like they've been multi-headed here, here, and then here and here. But for me to have a bouquet length of stem, really I have to cut it below those buds. I mean, there, I might just get away with there, but not really. I think really for, you know, the quality product I'm trying to sell, I have to snip it there. So it's quite likely that these are going to be a bit like stock for me, and they're going to be one flower. So I've got my lovely bucket of goodies. We've got my beautiful Chantilly snapdragons that I go on and on about. I've gone off all the other varieties. I like the more open look. We've got some lovely apricotta cosmos there, and I've got a snow puff cosmos as well. We've got some Ami. We have got just one piece of feverfew, because I think if you put more than one piece in, it just looks a bit heavy and it sort of overtakes the bouquet. 3 little white dianthus, the sunflowers, I mentioned the crown daisies, and then I've got 1 Shasta daisy, and I need 1 more stem, and the Alchemilla mollis in here in the cut flower patch is a bit past it now, so I'm going to go and have a look and see if I can find 1 really good piece in the cottage garden instead.
Another day. So I'm just going to make up a quick bunch of flowers. Shouldn't take too long, it's just one of my classic bunches. And it was funny because, having said that I've got that lily in the garden and I've never cut it, I've cut it. And I couldn't find any Alchemilla mollis that wasn't sort of going all brown, so I've got this big fluffy piece of astilbe, which I think will look quite nice. So let's go ahead now and make a nice classic bunch of flowers. Nice, really sort of rich yellow of the sunflowers, and the lily should be quite nice and I wouldn't say colourful because it's one palette, but it should be vibrant, let's say. My snapdragons have been conditioning in paper just to stop them leaning for the light, because I didn't want them to be all bent over. These are the Chantilly, which are my favourite snapdragons. I've sort of almost gone off other varieties entirely now. Oh, I really like that. There's a friend of mine that would really like this as well, because she loves sunflowers. But I've really staggered my sunflowers, because I don't make, 20 bunches a day. I make a bouquet a day, so I don't want 3 sunflowers. For me, flowering on the same day is perfect. So yeah, but definitely the orange up, I will grow them again next year. They're a winner. In fact, a lot of the things I've grown for the first time are a winner, definitely. So that's why it's good to experiment and try new things. Right, let's go and take some pictures of this and message the lady and tell her it's ready for collection.
Thank you everybody for joining me again on this week's video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel and you think that these are the types of videos you'd like and you'd like to see more of my content, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to contribute towards the filming of the channel in any way, you can buy me a coffee, and the link for coffee buying is in the description to the video. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.